I feel like a rock star with the mic. Please regard everything you're about to hear as another opinion. You actually cannot speak truth with a capital T in this language. You can only describe intersecting realities. So if whatever we say rings true to you, use it. If not, pitch it out the window. You are the only person running your reality. And by the way, don't quote me. You hear what you hear through your pictures of reality. You do not hear what I say. So when somebody says, what did Tach say? Say, well, what I heard is, I hear the damnedest stuff I allegedly say. Hi, I'm part of something called the Council of Ein Sof. It's a council of 36 light beings that are made up of councils, and I'm one of the ones incarnate from the council. So I'm sort of the point man. And we look at what's going on this planet in a pretty wide viewpoint. The Council of Ein Sof's job is to figure out ways to allow ascending universes to merge smoothly. You are on a small planet in an ascending universe. On this planet, the Council of Ein Sof's program is called Angelic Outreach. It would be really helpful for me if I could do show of hand stuff so I know kind of what people have accessed. How many of you read What is Light Body? How many of you read the Ascension Handbook? How many of you have accessed extraterrestrial Earth missions early work? Okay, because those councils work, our councils work closely together. And how many of you have worked with Drumbelow? Cool. That kind of helps me know where to talk from. It kind of gives me an idea. If at any point I use a term you don't understand, please stand up and say, define that term. I'm extremely irreverent. I live my life by absolutely no rules. Which means, if you live your life by spiritual rules, I'm going to piss you off. And that's just the way it is. So good to be your stimulation. If spiritual rules could ascend the planet wouldn't be in this dimension. If spiritual rules could ascend your body, your ass wouldn't be here. Because that's all it's ever been here. So now you know where I come from. And those of you who need to leave now can go. The rest of you, let's party. A lot of stuff's been going on planet. And the stuff going on planet has been affecting people pretty deeply. For those of you who listened to Drumbelow's talks and worked with Drumbelow, you heard a version of it, a version that I totally and absolutely agree with. It's just a different way of seeing things. The magnetic fields are pretty erratic, and they are sending people pretty crazy. There are other things that are going on. We talk in terms a lot of something we call the hologram. For those of you who are Star Trek Next Generation fans, welcome to planet Earth. You are on the holodeck. We are reprogramming the computer. There are some glitches. And one of the things that's happening is the glitches in the hologram are starting to show up pretty intensely. You're starting to see that background grid. And yeah, there are powers that be that say, you know, don't notice that man behind the curtain. But it's kind of hard not to notice anymore. When I talk a lot about the hologram, I talk in terms of the hologram as a geometric structure. Think of it like a projector. And that projector is projecting out your pictures of reality and everybody's. Up until the end of February of this year, your bodies have been mutating at different levels of what we call light body. And that mutation is a genetic shift. It is not optional. If you're in a body, you are mutant. It's not an optional process. And up until the end of February, that mutational process, the changes each of us have gone through individually, have been shifting the outer reality. And for the most part, that is still true. Every time you decide to make heaven on earth real, the universe begins to rearrange itself to accommodate it. So live heaven. But this thing happened. In the third dimensional reality, the structure of space-time in the hologram was a cubic structure. Any of you ever played with cubes, you know they don't merge real well with anything else. This is what allowed you to have the illusion of past, present, and future, and the illusion that you live in only one parallel reality of this planet. As you've probably noticed, over the last 3 years, time has been speeding up. If you have been trying to get the same amount of stuff done that you got done in a day 2 years ago, you're pretty much nuts. Because you got about a quarter of a day. I get people call me up and go, I wake up, I have coffee, it's time to go to bed, how do I get anything done? And I say, follow your spirit. Each breath and each step. Well, this really cool thing happened, starting at the end of February. As the planet goes through her ascension process, time speeds up. In other words, it collapses. And space, the aspects geometrically in the hologram, begin to expand. Well, this cool thing sort of happened that sent everybody insane, which is the spatial aspects of the hologram began to expand faster than time was collapsing. So that meant that everybody got real irritable, because every closed system you hold in your mental and emotional body began to collapse. And yes, this is connected to the magnetic shifts on planet. And it is connected to the frequency shift on planet. It's all one thing. It's all one thing. One beautifully coordinated divine thing. But what we watched is, oh, March, people pretty much wanted to find some asshole they could wring their neck because they were absolutely miserable. If I could just find who to sock for me feeling this bad. And systems started to collapse. And physical bodies started to resist. So most of you have had allergic reactions that you've never had since the end of February. We've seen people with hives, autoimmune system stuff, all over the place. That's a form of resistance in the body to the change. And the thing that's felt so weird is that for the first time it feels like the mutation of your physical body is being fueled by what's happening outside of you, instead of the mutation on the inside fueling the changes on the out. So most people have felt pretty out of control. Now, over the last 2.5 weeks, I think it was interesting, I didn't know that the magnetic field had stabilized. Started to notice that people started to move into 9th level light body. Now, in the model we use, the overall, what we call the positioning teams, the majority of the planetary population, whose job it was to play this game with gusto. I should back that up and talk about it. I can tell in the synergistic entity it wants to hear about that. I pretty much regard that the entire game that is played here has been played for a divine purpose. And that purpose was not to learn anything. It wasn't about learning something. Learning something was a structure of playing the game. For the ascension of all of creation, you have to have a catalyst. To have a good catalyst, you have to create a game of separation so severe that there's really a doubt if people are going to make it back. And you have to put that game on a little bitty mud ball in the farthest flung galaxy you can get a hold of. Welcome to planet Earth. So you guys who are positioning team, who were in 8th level light body, now moving to 9th, I consider that you had the tougher job, because your job was to get in here and play this game as if it was real, with a capital R, and play it for all you were worth. And every single being on this planet pretty much had the same prime directive. Get in here, get in the hologram, play the game for as close as you can. Try and make it as real as you can. So for those of you who've been beating yourself up because you went to sleep, I'd like you to pat yourself on the back for a job real well done. It is so hard for a divine being to pretend that they are limited. You are all vast, multidimensional masters. There is no exception to that statement as far as I am concerned. I may not like somebody. I may think there are ways to space. But I know they are a divine master, a vast, multidimensional being who has come here to serve in some way.